wonderful UpYou community, and welcome to UpYou with Ezinne. How you all doing? How was your week? Mine was beautiful. I attended beautiful Rita Dominic's wedding and I refused to leave even after the party was over. I kept hopping from one post on Instagram to another post, just feeding my eyes and my soul. Anything to break the lethargy that we all seem to have been wrapped up in lately. So today, it's good to be back here. And we're continuing on our shake-up series and we'll be discussing woman, shake up and ditch the lethargy. It's our hour on radio and I'm here to keep you company as usual. So let's do this, my beautiful people. Finding self, finding purpose. My name is Ezinne Kufre-Kanem and I'm your host. Our topic today is woman, shake up, ditch the lethargy. What is lethargy? A lack of energy and enthusiasm, unresponsiveness, lifelessness, inaction, no zeal, no zest for life. The narrative out there on the street now is that things are tough. Life is hard. Opportunities have vanished. Inflation is biting hard. Almost on a daily basis, the wailing has become notches hard and the hailing. The middle class seems to have been eroded. Right now, we have the rich and the poor. The apathy is palpable. One can almost slice through it. Of course, the years of COVID hasn't helped matters too. Women are badly hit. The breadwinners don't seem to be winning enough anymore. A lot of women were laid off from their jobs. Yet many others are nursing young ones resulting from the lockdowns of the COVID-19 pandemic. Others who never worked before because the breadwinner was winning enough are being forced out of their comfort to look for what to do. With all that is going on around us and in the world generally today, it can really be difficult to stay in the moment. But it is what it is. It's a time to shake up and ditch the lethargy. How and where do we begin from? Our guest today will help us to begin the process of shaking up and ditching the lethargy. May I remind you, dear listeners, that all episodes of UpYou with Ezinne are now uploaded on our YouTube channel. Please go catch up, take the nuggets you need to run for your dreams and your life. Subscribe and leave us a comment. It will help us to serve you better. Remember, it's all about you. Today, as usual, we are streaming live on Instagram at UpYou with Ezinne, on Facebook at WFM917 and at gardenradio.com. Woman, shake up, ditch the lethargy. Lethargy is a feeling, but it's also an attitude. And sadly, that attitude is one of indifference, unconcern, unresponsiveness, detachment, and dispassion. Such an attitude saps one of so much energy that you feel almost too paralyzed to act, and certainly without the will to do so. Which is why lethargic individuals are easily identified by their very passivity. Their interest in confronting life's challenges is seriously compromised. They just don't care enough, and frankly, they don't care that they don't care. So how did we get here? And how do we shake up the shackles of lethargy and become excited again to rediscover our ambitions and desires to live and grow? Our guest today is E.A. Jonathan Chaver. She's a justice advocate and social entrepreneur based in Lagos, Nigeria. She is co-founder of Seltzer Empowerment Foundation, a disaster relief organization which supports internally displaced persons and refugees. Before joining Seltzer, E.A. worked with the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, Nigeria, as a private sector fundraising specialist, and with UNICEF Switzerland as a corporate alliance specialist. E.A. has worked in the NGO sector, including with the Center for Values and Leadership Nigeria, in banking, advertising, and in Christian ministry. E.A. is an advocate for women and displaced persons' rights. She's a member of the Governing Council of Grooming People for Better Livelihood Center, a microfinance institution serving economically disadvantaged women. She's also a member of Fix Politics, an initiative aimed at fixing Nigeria and Africa's politics. She currently serves on the advisory board of Amnesty International Nigeria. EA is completing a certificate course in public leadership with the School of Policy, Politics and Governance, SPPG. A proud alumni of FGGC Boko. She holds a master's degree in political management from the George Washington University and a first degree in economics from the London School of Economics and Political Science. My dear listeners, the UpYou family, as usual, it's time to fasten up your seatbelts, get out your notepads and your pens. Just increase the notch of your volume, the volume on your radio a bit more, and then sit tight and listen to our very special guest today. Join me in welcoming Miss Chaver. Good evening, How are you today?
Good evening. I am good. UpYou to every single person in this week.
Yeah, and UpYou too, You sound so alive.
We are. We're glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
It is a privilege and honor to have you. Thank you for coming on the show. I love your voice. I never heard it over the radio before. It's so beautiful.
Uncle Sammy Rabbo once told me I have a radio voice.
Do you understand? Yeah, so maybe you should come and be my co-host on this program, yeah?
Let us see how it goes.
Great, okay. Okay, so let's just go on. Okay, so could you please start by telling us your perspective and understanding of the topic we're dealing with today, Woman Shake Up, Digital Lethargy?
Oh, this one is deep. I'm just, if you guys don't mind, I didn't script my responses. I'm just going to speak as the heart and the spirit leads me today. So,
that is what we want. Go
Excellent.
on.
So let me start off on a bit of a sad note. As you know, I said that I'm a proud alumna of the Federal Government Girls College, Boko, in Benue State, which is also my home state. Mm-hmm. Today, our class, our 1990 set and 1989 set are sad because today we buried our sister and classmate, Lydia Paul Okoronkwo, and her husband, who were kidnapped and murdered in southern Kaduna by terrorists a few months ago. So today we did a dual burial. Children were there. Between the two of them, they have 10 children, 4 adopted, and the adopted children and their biological children will now be looked after by the only surviving sister-in-law that they have. Their own relatives to have passed on. You know, so she leaves behind an aged mother. She was the only surviving child of her mom, and the sister-in-law is now taking care of 10 children. So it's heavy.
Their souls rest in peace.
Amen. And just wanted to send a word to my sisters in FGGC Boko and the Sosa dyslexic heart. Even on yesterday again, we buried our young doctor who was an Osupan as well.
Yes.
The young girl that was killed on the young doctor killed on
the train. I know that.
The train attack. So it is a very heavy time. So I just want to talk about where the lethargy for many people may be coming from. A lot of people are going through a tough time. And so the lethargy is real because most of us, I'm sure if we really examine and look at ourselves, with all that is happening in Nigeria today, and all the different news we hear every single day, it's very, we are in that lethargic stage. We're down, things are tough, inflation, we know what's going on, right? Yeah. Every day you go to the market, food prices are going up more and more, and everything is just going up more and more. So the lethargy is real. So when we say woman shake up, ditch the lethargy, we're not being facetious or trying to just do this. You know how we go positive thinking. We're speaking from a place of deep faith because you see, even as our sister Lydia passed away and we buried her under such tragic circumstances and with her husband Get those who have risen to the challenge of taking care of her family,
Women.
raising money, taking care of burial costs.
Women.
They've been mostly women.
Women.
Even as we've been crying, we have tears in our eyes. Sometimes we stop, we break down, we cry because we can't even imagine the horror the two of them went through before they were killed. We still carry on. So this is not to say, and this is not in any way to minimize the challenges any woman out there is going through. This is not to minimize. So many of our girls are missing, whether we bring back our girls. We remembered the anniversary just a few weeks ago. Even today, for example, another lady was, they're announcing again another sister of ours is missing. This one now, somebody from Benin in Abuja. This very morning again, one of my displaced women, her daughter was sent on an errand a week ago, and the girl is missing. So we are dealing with a lot. So when we talk about woman shakes up, ditch the lethargy, we're not negating that we're struggling. We're all struggling. Ezinne, when your own story too, we all have our stories. But we're now saying we're coming from a place of deep faith. We're standing on the shoulders of women who, from the beginning of time, have always borne the brunt of war, of conflict, of hardship, of suffering, usually created by our brothers when they are busy fighting over government wars. But we back at home, we know what we suffer. And here we are today. And when we say woman, shake up, it's the lethargy. We're saying woman, stand in faith.
Yes.
Because you're standing on the shoulders of women throughout history. Whether it's similar around some Kuti, whether it's Queen Amina, whether it is Haja Gabon, whoever, whether it is Hillary Clinton, whether it is Michelle Obama, whether it is Margaret Thatcher, whether it is those women who were resisting during the Second World War, in the French resistance, whether it's those women that went to the factories in America so the men could go to war, whether it is our Amazons that were fighting war, whether it's our sisters in Ghana who were fighting the war when the colonialists failed. We're saying we stand on the shoulders of these women and we will shake up with faith, ditch the lethargy, and move on and fight good with fight evil with good. Thank you. So that's my reflection on that.
Thank you, EA. That was quite deep and wide. Like you said, this is not to make light of anyone's load. Everyone is carrying one thing or the other. However, when a head is bent, the eyes can't look up and you can't see because you're looking down.
Yes.
So this is a call for the women to keep whatever it is, all the things that are surrounding us, that are making us feel lethargic. We put them on the knee, like they say in a proverb from where I come from. Keep it on your knee and try and raise your head so that your eyes can see and you'll be able to continue to run. Thank you, EA. That was a very deep perspective, considering that I just gave you the topic without asking you, discussing it at all with you. Yeah, so let me just quickly open the phone line so that we can get people in on this conversation because it's looking like it's going to be a deep one already. The numbers to call is 090-256-25455. The number to text is 070-317-56537. Here comes packed with a whole lot of experience. So please make sure you call in women and let's share, ways that we can pick up and keep running. We can't afford to keep being zombies when we have the breath of life in us. So back to you, EA. Of course, like you said, everywhere you look these days, you find a lot of lethargy, especially amongst the women because we bear the brunt. We find women who have become even more vulnerable and resigned themselves to sitting it out, whatever that means. We find women who seem to have run out of steam, women who are unwilling to move ahead, who don't even know what to do next. what do you think? What's your advice or your encouragement for women to start picking up, and looking up and looking out to see that you could move on with some kind of zest, some kind of hope,
Yeah. So let me say that, like you said, there is a lot of lethargy around. I have to tell you, every day I wake up, almost every morning, and I have that lethargy. It's a struggle to get out of bed because you think about the enormity of the challenges that we face. So a lot of the time, I wake up myself feeling very lethargic. Sometimes I even wanted to resign myself and be like, God, I can't go out today. I can't do this. I can't do that. You start this whole negative talk. One of the things I've found that's been very helpful is even from my bed, before I roll out of bed, after struggling with myself, I look out the window and I see the sky. I begin to look up. And I remind myself that this God who created this vast sky that stretches across the entire world, and you can't even measure it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how big and wide. I mean, of course, it's bigger than that. He created the sky. So faith plays a huge role. So one of the things I would say, as you said, is look up. Apart from that, find a support group or system. So what I started doing during COVID, I have a prayer partner. We pray every Tuesday. I carried on this thing. She's a much older woman than I am, an auntie. And she's someone I call. I can talk to her. If I want to cry about anything, I call her. We cry together on the phone. We pray. We do this. We need each other. So even for those women who are not, who are feeling so vulnerable, who are almost giving up on life, or even have given up, we've run out of steam. One, it's okay to feel that way. What is not okay is to stay in that place. And one of the things I find is that when you are really down in the dumps, there's always something, a ray of hope somewhere, no matter how dim. For me, that ray of hope sometimes just comes from looking up at the sky and saying, okay, well, there's a huge sky. There's a God bigger than my problems. So he must be seeing me. He can see everything. Okay, all right, let's start from there. Right? So that's one of the first things I'll say, to look up, change our perspective, and to find someone who can support you. If you do not know who can support you, call into our program, into this program, Up You, because that's what it's all about.
Yes.
Some people don't feel like they have nobody. But oftentimes, that's just, for those of us who are people of faith, that's just Satan whispering to us, telling us lies. There are people who are there to support you. So I think it's very important to do that. The question around why do we think sometimes a lot of women find themselves resigned, there's just so much pressure. And we should not forget also that there's a dimension to life. You know, when we were small children, we used to see these pictures. There's an angel sitting on one shoulder, a devil sitting on the other. The angel is whispering all the things that you should do that are good. The devil is telling you all the things that you should do that are naughty. You know, we used to have those cartoons where you see them sometimes in Tom and Jerry, right? If you watch it growing up. You know, and I really believe that in life, there are those, whether it's forces, there are those voices that we hear. One voice, I believe it to be the Holy Spirit, telling you do this, do that. That is positive, that is right. And there's another voice, always countering, you know, that I call it the devil whisperer. And telling you can't do this. You are like this. You failed at this. You were bad at this. The world is going to end now. Now you can kill yourself. You can do this. You can do that. There are always those voices. But one thing, it just takes a split second of distracting yourself from that voice. Whether it's looking up, picking up the phone, calling someone, or the other thing I've learned to do is even looking around me and seeing who can I encourage today? So I'm not so focused on myself, on my issues. Believe me, by the time you look around you, you always find someone who is worse, in a worse situation than you. So that would be some of my advice.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You're so spot on dropping your problems and looking out for who you can help. It works. I am a living testimony to that fact. But today is not the day for my story, is it? So let's move on. Please remember, EA says to call in. So the number to call in is 0902 562 5455. Please call in so that we can encourage you. I once learned that the word encouragement means to fill up, to enlarge someone, to give someone courage. You know, someone who doesn't seem to have the courage to go on anymore. Once you encourage, your chest fills up. And then you begin to think that you're a warrior, and then you begin to feel, I can do, and you're right. And then you begin to do. Thank you, EA. While we wait for the calls, I'm going to just ask you another question. I was reading a report from Gallup and ILO, a 2016 report, and it said that most women, especially those of African descent, prefer to be in paid employment than, striking out by themselves. And especially now in Nigeria, with the inflation and the hardship and everything, most women are not even thinking about becoming entrepreneurs. I think this is a good time to become an entrepreneur, but most people generally don't think that. They just want to be sure that after 30 days, they will get paid. What is it that can be done? What do you think can be done to change their mind or make them see that thing that is paining them now, whatever problems or challenges they face now, that if they find solutions to them, they can become businesses? How do we teach these women? Because we don't have enough jobs to go around for every woman who needs a job.
Yeah.
So what do we do? How do we?
I think for me, on that point of entrepreneurship, to me, it's actually a double-edged sword. And it's one of those things, I studied economics, right? So in economics, we have this debate and talk and conversation. On the one hand, we're encouraging entrepreneurship, but we also recognize that entrepreneurship is not the silver bullet. Now, the World Bank and our sisters in IMF and our brothers in IMF, all of them, they sold that to Africa, that almost as if once we have enough entrepreneurs, our problems will be solved, our unemployment will go down, right? But the conversations we're having and some of the evidence we're seeing is that, yes, entrepreneurship is extremely important, because even when you do become an entrepreneur, you still need employees in your workplace.
Yes.
So I don't think the one size fits all. It's really about those who know. Like, for example, I was an employee at some point in my life. And then when the time was right for me to strike out, when the pain points got more than my need for that steady paycheck, I knew, right? There was fear. You were not sure what you were going to do or how you were going to go about it. But at a point, I remember one time I even actually did a whole time of taking a retreat, fasting, praying about it. And I got a firm confirmation and peace that it was time to move on from that paid job and strike out on my own. And I think for people to do that, one thing people need to understand also, entrepreneurship can be extremely challenging. And you really have to have a very deep and strong why. For those nights when you are working alone, hard into the night, for the rejections you're going to get, because you will get rejected when you go to sell your thing or sell your service or your good. If you get rejection after rejection, you have to have a stronger why than just, I want to be a business owner. Now, as you said rightly, right now we do not have enough jobs. And entrepreneurs can create jobs and do create jobs for themselves and for other people as the businesses grow. But those who are able to stick it out and be successful in their entrepreneurship journey are those who are taking the time to really build. I was moderating a session early this week where we were talking about young people and entrepreneurship. And one of the things that came up, we had a lot of young people on the call, and it was kind of like an accelerator workshop sort of thing. We're talking to young people about raising capital and all that. And the question on the young people's lips mainly was, show me the cash, right? Mm-hmm. After I finish this training, am I going to get any money? And one of the facilitators said, more important than cash in a way you need to have the capacity. You need to know. You need to be able to understand that business you're doing well. You need to be able to deliver, and you have to be extremely persistent. So anybody embarking on entrepreneurship does need to get ready. But having said that, when all these things are in place, you're ready, you've identified your pain points, your passion point, what it is that you want to, you have the capacity, or you're ready to build the capacity. The only thing left to do is to really step out. Because at the end of the day, really, when all these things are in place, what do you have to lose? Of course, there are also practical considerations. Because by the time I stepped out, the first time I stepped out on my entrepreneurship journey, I didn't have that many responsibilities. I was still fairly young. I was in my late 20s. I had, my parents could still take care of themselves. I was fruitless and fancy free. Let's put it that way. I had no children. I had no responsibilities in that sense. I didn't have school fees to worry about, right? I know others who have stepped out and been able to step out because maybe they have a support system. Maybe there's a spouse that can provide some regular income. Then there are also others I know who are single mothers who don't have that spouse. But their why is so compelling and it's so strong, and they have the capacity and the grit that they've been able to persevere and have built strong businesses. So the story is different for everybody, but their why, they have a compelling why. They have a passion. They're ready to be persistent and not give up. And they're willing to learn what it takes to really deliver for that business so that they can be as successful as possible in the shortest possible time. So I would say to that question is, yes, it is possible. For those who really strongly want to do this, equip yourself and get out there and do it. But do not let fear be the factor that will hold you back. I hope that makes some kind of sense.
It makes a whole lot of sense, and I think that you spiritually, quote and unquote, saw my script. Because you're just like breezing through it like that. Yes, it does make a lot of sense because one needs to have a very strong why and one needs to count the cost.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship is not a child's play. It's I call it digging in the trenches, and then and in this part of the world you're digging with bare hands. So.
I was just going to add that. Sometimes I also come across people who think being an entrepreneur is, I get to be my own boss, I get to choose my hours, I get to do this, I do that. And in some instances, that is so not that way. But what I've learned on my entrepreneurship journey is that your boss are your clients.
Yeah.
They can call you at midnight, you pick up.
Oh, yes.
Because you don't have a choice.
Oh, yes.
The word of the choice, as by people will say in Igbo, right?
Oh,
you don't have a choice.
And then you run for ridiculous hours. But the good thing about...
And you have to deliver. Mm-hmm.
The good thing is that you're happy doing what you're doing. If you're really cut out to be an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. You're working on your own terms.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're just joining us, this is Up You with Ezinne on WFM 91.7. The number to call is 090-256-25455. The number to text is 070-317-56537. We have a question here from Morenike. Morenike says, how can a woman who is lethargic become excited again to rediscover her ambition and desire to live and grow?
That's a very good question. Let me tell you one. Rest assured you're not alone in that feeling. I go through that in a year, maybe 6 times, minimum. What I've found is sometimes there are different ways to approach it. One is just to keep going. There's that saying, if you're going through that, don't stop. Right? You just have to keep going. Sometimes it's to find the barest minimum thing and just keep doing that every day. Another one this one was in a paid job, and I was working with when I was working with the UN, and I had some family problems. So I was going through depression. A family member was missing. We've been looking for the person for years, and it was just a very difficult time. and I was going through some problems, and I had depression. I remember if I had to go to therapy for that. And as I was going for counseling or whatever it was, I was still going to work. And thankfully, one of the things we used to say, I went to the office, and I had this bunch of colleagues, and we would show up at the office, and we would start laughing at ourselves. We say, at least we showed up today. So the first step, just get up and show up first. Sometimes you have to take it step by step, hour by hour, day by day. So you do have to find, for me, at that time, the bare minimum was just waking up, having my shower, and going to the office. When I got to the office, seeing my colleagues rejuvenated me. Then also, the first task will come. We may take our time, but we get it done. The next task will come. So it's one thing after the other. So they say the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step in the right direction, a step forward in the right direction. So for someone who is feeling that lethargy, struggling to go on, find reason and whatever, when I say don't stop, I would say find something in your, whether it's your daily routine, in your business, in your work, or whatever it is, that energizes you. Because a lot of the time when we lose our lethargy, when we start getting lethargic, it's because we spend a lot of time in that spectrum doing or thinking things that do not energize us or give us joy. Yeah. So someone like me, I love dancing, I love jazz, I love music. So sometimes it can be something as simple as listening to a song I really like, whether it's Michael Jackson's, one of my favorite ones, Remember the Time.
Remember
I hear it
the
and I just get this
time when we fell in love.
When we fell in love, you remember the time. But you're not, you know, I can even be Oliver the Cook. You know, I love those highlight songs. You know, you just hear them, you're like, oh my God, I remember this. When we used to play, you know, my uncle's this one. You just find something that energizes. It could be music. It could be a part of your work that maybe you've delegated because you're too busy. I love fundraising. I love talking to people and getting people to donate to the causes that we're pushing. And sometimes I'm so busy doing the administrative work, I don't go out there and talk to the people. Or sometimes it's even going out to visit a displaced woman and seeing her children and playing with those children. That can give you joy too. So what I'm just saying is different for everybody. So part of this is, you know what gives you energy. You know what it is. It can be getting a glass of wine or eating your favorite thing. It can be pepper soup. It can just be going for a walk. Anything that can give you that energy. At that point in time when you're feeling that lethargy, spend more time in that space. So that you can be energized, because right now you're low. You need more energy, more power. So that's the time to really get out. I love nature too. So sometimes I even just go out and take pictures of a flower and do whatever it is that will just give you that joy. Sometimes it's praying. Other times too, you may just need to go on a retreat. You know, find a quiet place and go away from everybody. You know, of course, the first thing I usually do anyway is to pray and talk to God about it. You know, so whatever your faith, whatever your religion, if you're an atheist, there are other ways atheists find release with nature and all that. Whatever it is that gives you that energy, spend time doing that.
Thank you.
I hope I'm not taking too much time and talking too long.
No, it's very okay. So basically, go back to your happy place. Whatever your happy place is, draw strength and energy from there. Okay, so we're going to run now because time is beginning to talk to us. I'm going to ask you two things jointly, and then you give us the answer to that. Why fix politics? Do you see social justice for Nigeria anytime soon? Because there are lots of broken windows. And also, we would like to know a bit about Grooming People for Better Livelihoods Center, because I might have one or two women who are listening who would benefit from Grooming People for Better Livelihoods Center. Tell us about what you do there.
Sure. Okay, so let me start with Grooming People. We call it the Grooming Center. So I sit on the governing council, and they've been doing fantastic work for the last 15 years. Their headquarters is in Ejigbo, and they give microcredit to women, economically disadvantaged women. I think when they first started, they were giving like 15,000, 20,000, you pay back over 6 months. But right now, I think the entry loan, I think is 140,000, but you do have to have something you're doing, or some kind of small business. They have a lot of other things they're doing. If anyone wants to, you can just Google them or follow them on social media, Grooming Center. And they'll pop up. You see all the things they are offering. But They've gone from, they started with 15 women, giving them microcredit. And right now they have about 700,000 women across the country, in 600 branches.
Awesome.
Whom they're giving microcredit. And in 15 years, those women have taken those small money and grown them in businesses. They're sending their children to school. Some of their children have graduated, gotten jobs, or joined them in their businesses or opened new businesses and have become customers of grooming themselves. So it's one of those success stories where you see a lot of people doing just amazing things. They actually have a book on telling some stories of the women. In fact, even I'll send you an invitation to that. So hopefully that'll be very inspiring for all. But it's just one of those. Now that brings me to why I think politics. You see, we do, so Grooming Center is an NGO. I work in the NGO space, but I work primarily with displaced women. Mm-hmm. And I partner with Grooming Center as well. So they support my displaced women, and I do something for my own displaced women or our displaced women on a smaller scale. We give them micro funds to do business. You know, even though they are displaced, they still have to make a living, so they're not begging on the street. Now, what we found was that I can be there doing this IDP work. I don't want them to feel fulfilling, and it is on one level. But you see, for every displaced woman we're helping today, I beckon. Right now, as I'm talking to you, Southern Kaduna is going to be attacked tonight. Yesterday, there were attacks in their villages. The more those attacks are happening, not just in Southern Kaduna, in Plateau, all across Nigeria, we're having more displaced
women and children.
And families and children, more people dying. All the things we're seeing happening around us, the inflation, the lack of security, everything, guess what it is? It's a result of bad policies and bad governance and bad politics. So, and that is across Africa. So the only thing, politics determines everything. So I can do all the work I want to do and try and save all the women I want to save. But if your government is not going to protect them, that problem will just continue. It will be recycling itself. Whereas, once we have a government that can work like those in India and China who are working and lifting millions above poverty, what happens? People get jobs. They don't think they need to commit crime. Terrorists, they don't have ready recruits for terrorism. So that's why it's politics. So all these pillars need to be in place. So the grooming, the facials of this world, they need to be there. But we need our politics to work. We need our government to provide the security needed, to provide the enabling environment. And we all need to get involved. All hands on deck. If you're not running the office, at least vote for the right person. Don't just collect money and say, they've been bad like this before. We came to the same two big parties, so I need to vote. They say, no, let us look at issues. So if they come to us and say, oh, vote for me, okay, why should I vote for you? What's your policy on displaced people? What's your policy on electricity? How are you going to sort out these security issues? Right? We have traffic in Lagos. How do you want to manage it? We have waste everywhere. Our beaches are open. Our children are still dying of malaria. Our women are still dying in childbirth. What is your plan? Let's hear what they have to say on those issues. Instead of the usual, the two big parties, they are still going to win anyway. They are just votes to talk. We need to be focused and have a better way of thinking these things through. So that's why it's politics. As to your question on justice for Nigeria and what do we see? Well, it's up to us. We will have to decide. 2022 is coming. I hope we have our PVC. If we don't have it, please go and get it. The registration ends on June 30th. So we still have time. So we can get our PVC and find the right candidate and vote for them. That's what I have to say.
Thank you so much, Iye. I'm not even going to ask you what drives you because we can see exactly what drives you. Passion for a better Nigeria and a better place for the woman and the child. You're such an awesome person. Can you please round up this interview for me in the next 2 minutes by giving us, the women, some pieces of advice and encouragement? Advise that woman that is burnt out who was listening to you today. Advise the one that is about to throw in the towel not to just resign from living her life. And advise those of us whom Nigerian have happened to, who are still trying to put one leg in front of the other. And then even those of us who still love Nigeria and believe in Nigeria, and we're going to be here, showing up every day like you advised. What advice do you have for us?
I would say, let's not give up. Look up. And if you when you get tired, there's nothing wrong with taking a break. Even Jesus rested. But guess what? He got back in the game immediately. And let's not be afraid. We don't have to put up a front for anybody. In our society, sometimes we like doing this. We're going to slay. We're going to dress up like this. But sometimes we do that, and we also dress up the wound that is killing us silently. Let's not do that. I take a lot of lessons from scripture, from Jesus Christ as a person. When he was really down, he did not hide it. Told his disciples, my soul is overwhelmed to the point of sorrow. Keep watch with me. We've all done Easter now, so I'm sure we all remember those scriptures. Mm-hmm. When he wanted to cry over the death of his friend Lazarus, he cried, even though he knew he was going to raise him in the next. So he didn't form Teflon man.
Exactly.
So we don't have to form anything for anybody. If you need to take a break, you need to cry, you need to take a day off, just sit in your house and watch Netflix and feel happy with yourself, or pray and tell God all the things you're not happy about. It's fine. But make sure that tomorrow you get up and try again. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much.
Let's keep trying.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you. God bless
Thank you.
Okay, so this is a shout out to Jacob Conwa. Thank you so much. We got your message on the message platform. Thank you for listening. I'm glad you were inspired. God bless you. And so my takeout today is that this lethargy that we all feel right now, you know how we say, these too shall pass. So this lethargy period shall pass. But we need to see past ourselves. We need to see past our circumstances. We need to lift up our heads so that our eyes can see and catch the vision again to run with our dreams. There are so many opportunities and possibilities out there. But when your head is down, your eyes cannot see. Your eyes are not looking up, not looking out. So please, woman, shake up and ditch the lethargy. We need to be realistic and set small, achievable goals. Get them done, grow muscles from there, and then you have your mojo back. Like our guest said today, show up. Just show up. If you feel down today, okay. Tomorrow morning, dress up and show up. One day, you'll find your joy back. Woman, do not be careless over your life. A lot of destinies are tied to your standing up, signing up, soaking up, shaking up, and running with your dreams. I see so many opportunities and possibilities. It's time to ditch the lethargy. Find your why. Dust it and let's rev again. And this is where we wrap up today's edition of Up You with Ezinne. It's been another amazing one. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Up You with Ezinne. Get copies of our books, Up You, and When Adversity Strikes, Fight. Thank you. Big up to everyone that is involved in creating this magic every week, starting with you, our dear listeners, our guests, our advertisers, the callers, engineers on duty, the amazing Up You team, my special 3 squad producers for today, and the best radio station, WFM 91.7. You all stay strong, stay blessed, be lifted. My name is Ezinne Kufurekane. Until I come your way again, is Up You, Up You, Up You, Up You.